your girl H, aka geekxxchic, and I'm back with another review, the first review of 2019 for The Walking Dead. This is for the latest episode, which was called Adaptation, and it was interesting. It was definitely an interesting episode. We didn't have a crazy amount of action, which is fine considering we kind of ended on a bit of a cliffhanger with a lot going on, especially in that scene in the cemetery, but we picked up literally right where we left off, and considering the way we came into the episode with Michonne narrating everything that had happened up until this point, I wasn't sure if we were going to have a little bit of a time jump again, but we didn't. We jumped right back into the cemetery with them taking Jesus back and also taking out a couple more of the Whisperers and capturing one of them on their way back. I'm glad that they were smart enough, because at first when I saw that back at Hilltop they were saying that it had been over a day since they'd been gone, I was like, wait, like why is it taking them so long? But then I realized once they recognized, because that's what I thought of right after, is okay, yeah, they gotta make sure they don't lead them right back to Hilltop if there are more of them. So the thing is with these guys, they typically don't look like they move too much until they're close to their targets, because obviously if the walkers figure out that they're human, that won't work for them. Yeah, it was a long windy trip, and they ended up getting this girl Lydia out of it and deciding to bring her back to Hilltop, and I'm a little bit mixed on that decision. On the one hand, I kind of get why they did it, because they need to find out more. There's no way for them to find out from the dead people, so they do need answers, but bringing her back to Hilltop was a mistake. I feel like they should have found somewhere else. Like they have, like even if they'd gone back to the sanctuary, one of their old outposts where no one lives anymore, I think would have been better than bringing her back to where there are people and children and vulnerable and all that kind of stuff. So it was a dicey choice. I understand that they just probably, I don't know, I don't even know what I would do in that situation. It's such a crazy thing for them to even fathom. They have clearly never been around anything like this before. I don't think they ever thought in a million years that anyone would willingly put on the skin of walkers and be wandering around just killing folks for no apparent reason. So, but I do get it, and oh, I love it. I love it when Michonne gets into interrogation mode. Like this, Michonne so far since the 6-year jump, she reminds me a little bit of what she was like back in season 3, particularly whenever she would deal with anything to do with the governor. You know, I loved that just badass, kind of shut down, mean mugging. This is, you know, I'm Queen Michonne and I'm about to speak kind of air. Like she's always been a boss. Don't get me wrong. Even when she was all loved up and happy with Rick, she was still bossing it. But I'm just saying now, I don't know, that edge is a little more, that edge is back. You know, Rick kind of softened the edges a bit, you know, when they were together. But now that he's on his sabbatical at the moment, you know, she's got them edges back, and I like watching it. I think if she had been in charge of interrogating that girl, she would definitely be less a few parts. You feel me? And I have no doubt in my mind that Michonne would have just ended it. It would have been like, that's it, done, if she had to. But in one way, I understand why they can't be too quick to take her out, because again, as much info as they can get. I am so frustrated with Henry, I can't even speak. Like, I still don't like that kid. I haven't liked that kid since he started as a character on this show. I don't like him. He annoys me, and he annoyed me even further this episode with intervening with stuff he ain't got no business intervening in. This is what got him in trouble in the first place. Because every time Henry's in trouble, it's because he puts himself in places he don't belong. Like, you just see people who are just like, how are you born on the wrong side of Darwinism like this? Like, how are you just a walking disaster? That is Henry. And the worst part is, he's not the one who actually suffers the disaster, it's the people around him. The collateral damage is astronomical with that kid, and it drives me insane. God, I wish that he just fallen into a Walker pit someplace and they just would have been like, sorry, Carol, I know you got bad luck with kids, but this one was a mess. Anyway, maybe now that Daryl is listening in on these conversations between Henry and the girl, I'm wondering, like, I guess Daryl was, which I'm hoping this is the case, in which case I'm giving Daryl a lot of credit here. I guess he's figuring out that the straight brute force only gets so much out of them. Like when he had her genuinely scared, she did give up more info, clearly more than she did when the whole group was there. She's clearly trying to play the whole scared little girl card, and she's doing a good job. Again, I feel like that's far more effective on men than it typically is on women, which is why Michonne was like, girl, I don't believe you. You can cry tears till you're dry, girl. I'm still not gonna believe you. I think Daryl's thinking, fine, if I can't use the stick, then maybe I'll use Henry as the carrot. And him listening in in and like seeing these two bond like idiots, he might get more information, because I have no doubt in my mind that Lydia's gonna try to recruit Henry. She's gonna try to talk him into like their crazy way of thinking and to get him to help her so that he'll wear skins too. And honestly, Henry's so gullible and stupid, he'd probably do it. But I digress. Hopefully by that point, before that happens, Daryl or somebody will stick in, or Daryl will just be like, Carol, come get your boy, because he's about to go wear some walker skins for some dirty ass girl who's up in here lying to us about how she don't know nothing. Please come get your child. So yeah, we'll see how that all turns out, but I agree with Michonne that it's risky to have her there. I think Michonne was gonna kill her on the bridge, and I actually kind of agree that she should have done that, but I have no doubt that this is what's going to lead this group that we just saw towards the end of the episode here directly to Hilltop. But we'll come back to that in a minute. We had a couple other little things come up as far as side plots, I guess, that they've got going on now. Poor Eugene, once again, desperately trying to confess his feelings to Rosita. I mean, I think Rosita knows. I mean, she doesn't need him to say it. She knows. I think she's known since she was with Abraham way back in the day that Eugene's got a thing for her, but it's never gonna happen. Like, Eugene, dude, it's been 6 years. If 6 years of her knowing you, being by your side, all that stuff, going through what y'all been through, if in 6 years she ain't even blinked in your direction when there's an apocalypse and there's literally a shortage of men that are not infected and who semi-regularly bathe, if she has never even looked in your direction for so much as a peck, dude, you're not in there. You are so far in the friend zone, you can't even see where the line is. Let it go. Let it go, my friend. I'm all for having hopes and dreams, but this is a dead end. And now, thankfully, he's hearing just how dead of an end it is, because it turns out Rosita has been making her way through Alexandria. Okay, girl is having a whole ass hoe face. She is thoughting and bopping her way through Alexandria. I was like, okay, girl, okay. I mean, I don't blame her. He's cute and all, but okay. And apparently they were stupid and they didn't use no protection, because looks like Rosita's pregnant. Honestly, I don't need another pregnancy on this show. I mean, I'm sorry. It's not, I just feel like between having to go through it with Lori and then again with, well, what little we got of Maggie, I just don't want to deal with another pregnancy in this show, another baby. I'm not sure why they're doing this. I don't get why they would do it. I don't know if the actress in real life, if Christian is pregnant in real life, and maybe they're just trying to write this in because she's gonna have to leave again, but I just don't see the point in having another baby or dealing with this at all. I guess the show has their reasons. I'm sure it'll come back to something or something. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe it happened in the comics. I don't get it, and I'm honestly not for it. Like, I don't know. But yeah, I'm glad that Eugene heard that so that it doesn't have to be, it's still gonna be an awkward conversation, but it won't be as awkward, and hopefully now he'll get it through his head that he's just never gonna be the one. Then we had the whole Negan storyline, and it's interesting. I found it a little bit as a character piece. It was quite interesting. I feel like it was spent a little bit too much time on it, but considering we still have 8 more episodes in the season, I can allow it. But his whole escape, which seemed very ill-conceived. Like, listen, I don't know. I love that Judith isn't just some happy-go-lucky kid someplace that we never really interact with, but I also am having a hard time suspending my disbelief to think that this kid is just this much of a badass and this good at discerning things, and is just also never ever supervised. Like, she's only, what, 12? Not even 10? And we're supposed to believe that she just wanders around Alexandria with a loaded weapon and no one thinks twice about her being gone for hours. Like, what? What? Who's watching RJ? Like, what is happening? What is even happening? But anyway, the whole thing with her and Negan was just weird. And this is why I feel like I'm just so lost as to why they got rid of Carl's character. Because this would have made so much more sense with Carl. Like, all these interactions we're seeing between Judith and Negan would have been so much better suited and much more believable, in my opinion, with Carl. So I just don't understand why they've chosen to give this to a 9-year-old girl. But that aside, we had that whole situation with him leaving his little cell and really not understanding the concept of what happens when you've been imprisoned for a very long time. And it's a very real thing. I like that they showed a very real journey for Negan in this regard, in that people who have been incarcerated for a very long time, they do go through what's kind of like a time warp when they get out of prison. And even though they know, it's not like they didn't realize the time had passed, and You know, obviously Negan, like he said, he had a window in his cell so he could hear what was going on. He knew the comings and goings. He's watched Judith grow up. It's not like he doesn't have a sense that time has passed, but yet because he wasn't out and about and doing things with everybody else and interacting the way he was with everyone else, he really did lose touch with what the real world was like. Coming back out, he very much just, it's like his brain is stuck 6 years in the past. He really has no clue of what the world's like really out anymore. He doesn't know who he's dealing with. He doesn't know what the players are, but more importantly, he doesn't have people. And we established, what, 3-4 seasons ago in this show that you cannot survive in this world anymore on your own. You need people. And as we're learning with the Whispers, whether they be dead or alive, you need people. Negan thinking he can go out there in this world now when he's got nothing was foolish, but understandable, because in his head, he really hadn't reconciled that 6 whole years have gone by since he had any semblance of control or influence over the people that he did. And I thought it was very interesting to watch him try to slowly rebuild himself into what he was 6 years ago. From when he first leaves, he has the shovel, he ends up breaking off the head of the shovel, now he's got like kind of a bat-like object. New Lucille, right? He ends up in the clothing store. I made the joke, which turned out to be true. I'm like, let me guess, he's gonna find a leather jacket, right? A little bit plot devicey, but we get it. It was for the sake of the story. He finds a, let's face it, leather, faux leather, whatever you want to call it, vinyl, a leather look-alike jacket. He gets this, he puts it on, you know, almost gets run down by dogs. He goes out there, tries to drink stream water, hasn't drank water that hasn't been, I mean, purified, because we know now that Alexandria and all these other communities now have the inventions thanks to that book that was left to them, so they probably have water purification and all kinds of things. Negan went out there trying to drink some stream water, which was probably downstream of God knows what, was sick within minutes, didn't bring enough food to last him more than a day or two. Then he finally makes it back. Where does he go? He goes back to Sanctuary, the last place where he felt like the old version of himself. But it's not Sanctuary anymore. There's no people anymore. It's literally more dead than it was to begin with. His Walker family by the fences are gone. He goes in, it's desolate. It's empty. There's nothing there. He whistles, you know, everything. Even when he came in and he did the whistle into the emptiness, because that whistle used to inspire fear and I guess admiration by a handful as well. All of it was just him slowly trying to see if he could regain this glory that he's been clearly probably making a lot more illustrious in his head over these 6 years, but then realizing like, no, like this isn't the world anymore. There are no more saviors. Or the ones that were there, they've all dispersed. They either decided not to be saviors anymore, or they got killed, or they've just gone their merry way. There's no more of that. Nobody considers him a threat anymore. They're not scared of the name Negan. They're not scared of him as a person anymore. Plus, he's outnumbered. There's no one there to come to his defense anymore. And then when he went back and he's trying to arrange and rebuild this place, I think for a moment he thought, yeah, well, I can rebuild. Like I built it the first time, I can rebuild it again. But then I think it just hit him with overwhelming clarity that no, actually you can't. Again, the main ingredient that was missing was people, and Negan does not have people anymore. The only person he has is little creepy Judith Grimes. That's it. That's it. That is this one person in this entire world. There's nobody else who gives a rat's patoot about that man. And that's when he recognized in that moment, looking at the compass, that yeah, no, there is nothing for me out here. I can't even survive anymore out here. I don't even know that he could survive before all this happened. I think what Negan's superpower was before all this was that he was super charismatic and he had great leadership skills. He was able to figure out how to get people to do things for him, but that's gone now. He doesn't have the people to lead, the people to do his bidding anymore. So without that, he very much is weak and alone and kind of defenseless. And so he was gone for a whole day, the whole walloping, maybe not even 24 hours before his butt said, you know what, actually, that sounds like so bad. You know, there's 3 meals a day, soft bed, I can sleep without knowing that walkers ain't gonna claw me to death. And even that interaction, even with the one person who would talk to him, actually it's not even true because Gabriel talks to him too. Like he had that human interaction, which is something we all need. So interesting, very much the kind of the ideal of, like, you know, they say with birds that have been in captivity for a long time, you try to release them to the wild, they'll come back to the cage. And in this particular sense, Negan has nothing else to draw comfort from. So interesting little journey with him mentally and emotionally. I mean, it could have been done a lot quicker, I think. They probably could have done all of that in a space of a scene or two, but It's all good. We gotta justify that check that we're paying JDM, right? Yeah, that was pretty much the episode. There wasn't too much more that happened outside of Michonne saying she had to get back. You know, she's going back to her community, and hopefully someone will also send word back to Kingdom to let them know that the Whisperers are about and well. And I love that Michonne was the one who ended up getting Daryl to stay there in Hilltop, the way she just kind of ordered him like, "Hey, no, Maggie, ain't Jesus, you gotta stay because you got to." And he was like, okay. Because no one argues when Michonne says stuff. But beyond that, they also had a really cute moment as well. I love seeing that moment between them where, you know, Daryl was like, "I'm sorry I couldn't bring Rick back for you to bury and have your closure." And she was like, "I'm sorry I couldn't do it either, because we both," like those two people right there, Daryl and Michonne, were like the two closest people in Rick's life as far as the adults in his life. So it was great to see them have that moment and to know that they're still pretty much on good terms. It looks like Daryl's going to be staying at Hilltop for the time being, and that makes sense to have at least some of the core group, you know, Carol in Kingdom, Daryl there, Michonne back at Alexandria. We've got some of the core group all in the major places because they are going to have to figure out a way to cut together and figure out how to take out these crazy son of bitches, right? That was pretty much the episode, guys. What did you think about it? How do you feel like the pacing of the new season is starting off so far? And how do you think it's gonna go with this girl, Lydia? Do you really think she might be able to turn Henry for real? Or do you think that he's gonna actually do something right for once and take this girl out? Please leave your comments below. You know, I'm getting involved in that conversation with you. And if you like this video, guys, please click like. And if you want to see more from this geeky face, please click subscribe. Until next time, see ya.